In the quiet suburban streets of Battersea, South London, a semi-detached home became the epicenter of a paranormal phenomenon that left even skeptics questioning their beliefs. The year was 1956, and the Hitchings family embarked on a surreal journey marked by unexplained noises, moving objects, and a mysterious entity they later named Donald. The haunting commenced innocently enough, with a peculiar silver key appearing on the pillow of 15-year-old Shirley Hitchings. Perplexed, Shirley traced the ornate key's cool metal with her fingertips, but it didn't match any locks in the house. That night, the Hitchings family found themselves in the grip of a relentless series of loud bangs, thumps, and scratching sounds that echoed through their Victorian terraced house in Battersea. The disturbances escalated, with objects mysteriously moving without human intervention. Pots and pans were thrown from seemingly empty rooms, bed sheets levitated, and slippers walked across the floor. The family, traumatized by the inexplicable events, sought help from the police and surveyors, but no one could offer a plausible explanation. As the phenomena persisted, the family named the unseen presence Donald, reminiscent of Disney's irritable Donald Duck. The haunting took a sinister turn when Donald, described as a poltergeist by paranormal investigator Harold Chibbett, began dragging Shirley from her bed and making her levitate. Fires erupted spontaneously, messages appeared on walls, and the eerie occurrences captured the nation's imagination, even reaching the halls of Parliament. The family's attempts to rid themselves of the haunting led to encounters with mediums, exorcists, and ghost hunters, including the dedicated Harold Chibbett. He was likened to the Jay Gatsby of ghosts, played a crucial role in attempting to communicate with Donald and understand the nature of the haunting. The poltergeist communicated through taps on letter cards, claiming to be French and expressing fear. The Hitchings family, thrust into the spotlight, endured a decade of bizarre events, with Donald even claiming to be the lost Dauphin, Louis Charles, heir to the French throne. The haunting took a toll on Shirley's life, affecting her job, relationships, and overall well-being. The family eventually moved, but the paranormal activity persisted. In 1968, the messages abruptly ceased, leaving the family in a mix of relief and mourning. However, the tale took an unexpected turn in the 1980s, when a medium approached Shirley with a message from a little boy in fancy dress. The description eerily matched a postcard given to Shirley by Chibbett featuring Louis Charles. The fate of the 10-year-old son of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette during the French Revolution has been subject to 200 years of speculation. The letters from Donald contained facts few would have known, such as the names of Louis Charles's bodyguards, later verified in Parisian archives by Chibbett. For Shirley, the worst period was March 1956, a couple of months after the haunting began. Donald started making demands, wanting me to wear my hair a certain way, then threaten us, saying he'd set fires in the house, she says. Dad locked all the matches and knives in our air raid shelter, but it did no good because fires would start all over the house. One night, Dad got burned putting out a fire. Underneath the burn were gouge marks, like he'd been clawed. Shirley's grandmother Ethel perhaps suffered the most. He would try to push her down the stairs, Shirley says. One night in October 1956, objects started to float around and the room filled with whispering. Then came a voice, an Irish woman. Shirley recalls, Nan went to bits because it was her mother's voice. She spoke back to it and went to her room. She had a stroke a few days later and died shortly afterwards. Scrawled writing appeared on the wall, fires were started out of thin air, and a handwritten note was found inside a notebook. It read, "Shirley, I come." It all began one night in early 1956, when a loud bang ricocheted through the Hitchings house. Living at the property along with Wally, Kitty and their teenage daughter was Wally's mother, Ethel, and a male family member, who is referred to simply as Mark in Shirley's memoirs. Next came the objects. We're talking about a clock floating through the air. We're talking about pots and pans being thrown from a room that nobody was in. Mr. Hitchings hired an exorcist, and the media swarmed around the story. Shirley was interviewed on TV, and some outlets claimed Donald was her ghostly boyfriend. People thought Shirley was behind the unexplained happenings, but she insists she had nothing to do with them. Everybody was pointing the finger at me, she said in a recent interview with The Sun. I knew I was not doing this. I'd always been brought up to be honest and never lie. Dad asked me at one point if it was me and I told him no. He said, That's good enough for me." Shirley, who still remembers the events clearly, told how her grandmother Ethel thought she was possessed and threw holy water over her in a bid to exorcise the spirit. She credits Mr. Chibbett with helping to tame Donald. The last message came in 1968. Shirley was living in West Sussex with her husband and baby son. Donald would leave messages on the notepad she kept by the telephone, telling her what her parents were doing back in London. It was weird, yes, but for me it was normal. The note said he was leaving, and they never heard from him again. If you've made it this far, many thanks. Please like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel.